Okay, hello, welcome to another first impressions video where I'm looking like an off-duty priest, but it is, I think, almost minus 30 outside today, and I'm freezing cold, so like this I shall stay. Anyway, I just picked this up from the post office yesterday, the Glaminatrix Nocturnal palette. It almost feels surreal to have this in my hands. It's in pristine condition right now. I haven't swatched it yet, which I will do in just a second. I am beyond excited. I pre-ordered this on Black Friday. Not necessarily on Black Friday, but end of November kind of time. And I'm just really excited to try it. So let's just give it a little live swatch, shall we? Zoom in a little bit. Okay, so starting with the shade Milky Way, which looks like a pink and green duochrome. It's really sparkly, and there's also like a blue sparkle to this as well. Then we have the shade Night Vision, which is a green purple shade, I want to say. The first matte is the shade Witching Hour, which is a dark purple. My hands are really cold and dry, so don't judge these swatches too much. That's such a pretty purple. Then we have the shade Luna, which is a purple blue duochrome. Feels like the same kind of feel as Night Vision. A little flaky, slightly sheer, but definitely more opaque than Milky Way. Then we have the shade Fog, which is a gorgeous, grungy, like yellowy green. The shade Gloom, which is a like kind of olivey toned greeny brown. The shade Obscurity, which is a periwinkle. The shade Murky is a lime green. The shade Dusk is a shimmer. It's like a purple and like a gold shimmer, I think. Purple and like bronze almost, like bronzy gold. The shade Nightfall is a teal, kind of like a grayed out teal. The shade Constellation looks super pretty. It's a like copper to greeny gold shifting metallic. And then the shade Shadow is a matte black. Ooh, that's swatched really nicely. Look at this gorgeous color story. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. I cannot wait to get this on my eyes. I've been raving about this since, no, obviously not raving about it, but raving about how much I want to try it since this got released. So it feels amazing to finally have this in my little paws. So I'm going to roll the footage of me doing close-ups, up-close swatches, and like eye swatches and stuff like that, and then we will get into the look. Hello, welcome to the eye swatch portion of the Glaminatrix Nocturnal palette. There are no shade descriptions on Glaminatrix's website, so it's all up to me. If you've never watched a first impressions or eye swatch video from me before, I always prime my eyes before every swatch with the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base. And yeah. With shimmers, which we're going to start with, I go in dry, then I'll wet my brush with just water, and then I will use my fingers. So kind of get all the different ways. So first I'm going to take the shade Milky Way, which is a shimmer, obviously. And I'm going to start with this, just dry on my lids. So this is quite flaky and a little bit sheer. So now I'm going to wet my brush and intensify this on my lid. And then take that on my finger and intensify it that way as well. So this is super pretty. Again, like I said, very sparkly. A little bit sheer. When you get it on the eyes, it looks very green, like you can really see the green bluish sparkle, and then it's kind of like a peachy pink undertone, but really, really beautiful. And now I'm going to take the shade Night Vision, which is also a shimmer, and do the same thing, starting dry. And then I'm going to spray this. And use my finger. So obviously two very different formulas. This is a kind of like emerald green with a grungy, like warm purpley base. Not quite as sparkly as Milky Way. So Milky Way and Night Vision. Okay, so next up we have a matte. This is the shade Witching Hour. Took a little bit of building up, but otherwise it looks fine. Looks good, no patchiness. It's really like a true like eggplant dark purple. And then next up we have another shimmer, the shade Luna, starting dry. Spraying this now. And then intensifying with my finger. It's really, really pretty. It's a blue with a like grungy, again, purple base. Very similar to the formula or like finish of Night Vision. Not super sparkly, but definitely like sparkly, shimmery, metallic, really pretty. So we have Witching Hour and Luna. Okay, so now taking these two mattes, I'm going to take the shade Fog. So, well, I mean, performed beautifully. Look at that beautiful, like, kind of yellowy, grungy green. So pretty. I love shades like this. And then I'm going to take the shade Gloom. What a beautiful shade. I absolutely love it. Like a true, like grungy olive green. So beautiful. So we have Fog and Gloom. Okay, next row. Now I'm gonna take the shade Obscurity. Okay, so this is the shade Obscurity, and honestly I can't really, I think I forgot to prime my eyes. Yeah, so this is on an unprimed eye as well, and it's beautiful. I love periwinkle shades. It's maybe not quite periwinkle because it doesn't have maybe enough purple in it to be true periwinkle when you actually get it on the eyes, but it's like a beautiful like periwinkle adjacent blue. So pretty. This eye I will prime though, just for reference. Okay, and now I'm going to take the shade Murky. This is the shade Murky. I feel like it looks a little bit light here, but honestly my eyes are really dry, so I think if anything it's because of that. Again, took a little bit of building up, but it is quite a light green, so I think it performs pretty well. Yeah, it's like a limey green, really nice. So we have Obscurity and Murky. Okay, so another shimmer now, the shade Dusk. So starting with this dry. now I'm going to spray this. And use my finger to intensify it. So again, very similar to Night Vision and Luna in terms of formula. This is like a warm purple with a like bronzy shift. Really, really beautiful. I love how grungy all of these duochromes are. And then we've got a matte now, so the shade Nightfall. This is actually a super beautiful shade. It built up really, really nicely. It's not patchy at all. And I don't know why I thought this was more teal, but it's kind of like a powdery blue. I really, really like it. So we have the shade Dusk and Nightfall. Okay, last two shades. So now we have the shade Constellation. So starting dry. And now wetting my brush. And taking this on my finger. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a multi-chrome or not, but it kind of has multiple shifts in it. It's like a peachy shade to a gold, and then there's definitely a green in here as well. Really, really beautiful. And then lastly, we have the shade Shadow, which is a matte black. And this is a gorgeous matte black. I mean, I already knew that though, but super pretty. Super pretty, I say, to describe a matte black. So we have these shades Constellation and Shadow. And that concludes the eye swatching portion of this video. Okay, I'm very excited. I think I'm gonna do something with the greens, like this grungy kind of corner over here. I mean, how could I not? So let's just get started. And I have primed my eyes with the NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base, and I have not set my lids. I'm gonna start darkest to lightest today. I'm gonna take the matte black, the shade Shadow, and I'm going to put this in my outer corner and run it through my crease. I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit lower down though. I can tend to bring shades up too high when I go darkest to lightest, but because this is a matte black, I want to try to not do that. I mean, so far so good, but I also am just stamping a matte black shadow onto my lid, so if it didn't go well, it would not be boding well for the palette. And then I'm going to take the shade Gloom, which is this beautiful olivey shade. And I'm basically just going to run this over the matte black and then also use this to blend it out. So my initial impressions of the formula after just using these two shades, and I know it looks insane, okay, it'll turn out fine. But I feel like it's a formula that has a lot of grip to your eyes, and then initially like a lot of grip and a lot of pigment. It's not just gonna like do, like you're not just gonna like put it on your eye and it's gonna blend itself kind of thing. Think of like Blend Bunny. It's not like that. I feel like if anything it's more of like a melt kind of vibe, but I've only used two shades, so that's just like my very initial impressions. This is just a totally clean brush. I'm just going over the edges of the shadow. But what I like about it, again, similar to Melt, is that when you blend, like the pigment sticks. It doesn't just blend away, so it's probably not going to be a formula that you're going to have to like go back and build up and go back and build up kind of thing. And then I'm going to take the shade Fog, which is this like yellowy green. And I'm going to blend this over the edges. Okay, now I'm going to take some shimmers. I really don't know what to use. I think my instinct is to take Night Vision in the center of my lid and Constellation in the front part. I honestly don't really know how well those shades are gonna work together, but we're just gonna try it. First though, I'm gonna use some NYX glitter primer and put this all over my lid. And then, yes, I'm gonna start with Night Vision. Ooh. That is super pretty. And then I'm going to take Constellation. Yeah, maybe not the best combination of shades, but oh well. And then I'm just going to go back and forth between Night Vision and Constellation just to blend them into each other a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to just take Night Vision and Constellation on my fingers and intensify these shades on my lid. Quickly, I'm just going to hop off camera and do blush and highlight, and I will be right back. Okay, highlight and blush are on. If you're curious, I used the Milani Afterglow Instant Glow Powder and the Strobelight Instant Glow Powder in the shade Afterglow, I think. And the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso, which I actually have used for the first time. I bought it yesterday, and I really like it. For my lower lash line, I'm going to take the same matte black, the shade Shadow, and put this all underneath my eyes. And then I'm going to take Gloom, blend this shade out, and then take Fog and blend everything out some more. And then I'm just going to take the matte black, the Shadow shade, and just dump this in my very outer corners. Not a ton. I just don't want like it to be patchy or have any areas missing after, you know, I've done my lower lash line and stuff. But I'm definitely not like packing it on. I'm just taking a little bit and just making sure there are no like gaps, mostly like around that area. And then I'm going to take the shade Milky Way. I don't know if this is going to super suit the look, but it's kind of like the only shade that could work for me for my inner corners. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to spray this. That is super pretty though. It's looking very like greeny blue, which actually works out better than I anticipated, so that's good. Okay, and this is the finished look. I really, really love the way this came out, honestly. On my lips I have the NYX lip liner in Espresso, and the Nude Sticks Magnetic Matte Lip Color in the shade Joyce. This was from a long time ago. It was a collab box. Anyway, but I haven't done a dark brown lip in a while and I was just feeling it. So honestly, my thoughts are as follows. I am surprised at how surprised I am at how much I like this formula. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, to be honest, because while like obviously this palette has received lots of hype specifically for its color story, and I know a lot of people love Glaminatrix and all this stuff, at the same time I have heard a lot of people say that they don't like love Glaminatrix's formula, or that is a little bit difficult to work with, or things like that, kind of like mixed a little bit. So I wasn't, you know, sure. I didn't think it was going to be bad. I just wasn't sure what to expect. But obviously just based on like first impressions wise, like just doing this look, but I feel like the shadows are really pigmented with like kind of a little bit of a grip to them. It's not the same formula that Melt has, but in a similar vein where, you know, they have like a lot of pigment, but they're not just gonna like blend themselves. But that does mean that I find that you can like blend these and they're not gonna like blend away. They're not difficult to blend necessarily. You can blend them, but they're not going to like sheer out a ton. And they like really keep their pigment, and I really, really enjoy that. So if you like a shadow that's like super effortless to blend, that you don't have to think a lot about, that you don't have to be careful with kind of thing, like Blend Bunny or even like Beauty Bay. Beauty Bay has like a really, really blendable formula. You might not prefer this formula, but I actually love it because I find that it builds really, really beautifully without getting like overly, like you don't get a ton of buildup of shadow, and so you don't get any patchiness. And I just find like you don't have to layer as much because the pigment like kind of sticks down to where you placed it, and I just really get along with this kind of formula. So I am like 5 stars, super impressed, super happy with it so far, and I cannot wait to keep playing with it. The shimmer formula, obviously, you know, again, I've only used like a few shades, but I think it's really, really beautiful. If you don't love a super, super crazy sparkly shimmer formula, I think that this is really nice because it has that like element of being like special, like duochrome, multi-chrome, still sparkly, but you don't get like, what am I trying to think of? I don't know, like a really glitzy, like super sparkly, almost glittery finish, which some people don't prefer, but it gives you pigment, it gives you sparkle. I don't feel like it emphasizes texture in my lids either, and I'm just like really, really impressed so far. I'm like super happy, and Glaminatrix is, I think, in the process of releasing a new palette, so I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for new releases from Glaminatrix in the future. And honestly, their palettes are a little bit more expensive. It's like almost $70, I think, for this palette, which obviously is quite expensive, but you are getting like special shimmer shades. And shipping, honestly, from Australia, I've paid more. I think it was $20 Canadian. I've paid double that for shipping from the US, so I'm really not like super bothered by shipping at all. I mean, if you're American, it may feel like a lot, but I think if you're an international makeup consumer that's not based in the US, honestly, it's gonna, I mean, obviously it's gonna depend on your country, but I didn't feel like it was too bad at all. Anyway, these are my thoughts so far. I'm really excited to do a 3 looks 1 palette with this. Let me know if you've tried Glaminatrix, what your thoughts are. And yeah, I'm so pleased. Now I'm gonna have to go outside in the cold and my makeup is just gonna get ruined because my eyes are gonna water because it's minus 30 degrees. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video and I would love to see you in my next one. Bye.